This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Today, 4 teams will take the stage and fight for a shot at Master Shanghai. But elimination is on the line. If you lose today, you're out. Hello and welcome to VCT Americas mid-season playoffs. We're coming at you live from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. I am Golden Boy, and I'm joined today by some esteemed colleagues. We flew them in. We flew the best in from across the pond. It's Brennan Sideshow here today, only the best. Yeah. And then Wyatt's here too. Hey, Wyatt.
So disrespectful. I've been here since the beginning. The foundation of what we have going here. What the hell is wrong with you?
I mean, I've been here at the foundation a little bit longer, Wyatt, I would say.
It's crazy when the lovers fight over you.
The foundation of what?
How about hide your drink? How about that?
I did.
Let's go ahead.
I'm still pining for the sponsorship.
Waterloo will come and call in eventually, buddy. All right, guys. Well, as you can tell, it's going to be off the rails today, but we're going to have a lot of fun. So, right off the top, let's go ahead and talk about how this whole thing's going to work, because you got yourself some champions points that people are going to be playing for. Now, making playoffs is a huge plus for all of our teams, because a match win gets you 1 more point and, of course, 1 step closer to champion. So you can see there that Crew and I believe Leviathan were awarded an extra point because they made it to the bye round.
How are they going to break the tie between Furia and MIBR?
You just get this guy out.
You are. Woke up early.
Hey, mods, bring out the hammers, please.
So there's violence in the house today. How about this? We'll let you decide how that works, and solely you.
Sure, that sounds good to me.
And we'll fly you to Brazil and have you do it over there. It's going to be great. All right, so now another thing to note here is that the winner of this tournament is going to get themselves 3 points, which is a decent amount of points.
Yeah, close to my position.
Yeah, well, am I really?
Leaning more over towards me.
I just want to be closer to you as the broad. Look at that.
Start making out already.
It's love.
Now, roll up your whole group. Go.
Bracket. Go ahead and show the damn bracket where we are right now. These are going to be the matches that you see today in order. You're going to see C9G2 100 Thieves versus Loud, and these are going to be some pretty big games here. And of course, they are elimination matches. So Sideshow, we know you want to talk. So let's talk about this. Got some big games. How are you feeling?
Yeah, big games and a stacked lower part of the bracket. I think 100 Thieves, Loud, and Lev are 3 of our top 4 teams.
Yeah.
And one of them in the 100 Thieves Loud game, they are not going to go through today. Oof. Never mind any further in the tournament.
Yeah.
It's brutal out there.
Yeah.
They did both peak too late.
It is painful. Those poor 100 Thieves fans, they've been clamoring and praying for a time like this.
Yeah.
Only to run into Loud in the first place.
While they're looking so hot as well.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is tough.
Oh. Yeah, anything is possible, though. Anything is possible. It's going to be awesome. Now, you see, here's the thing. I saw a bracket, though, right? And it got me thinking. You know when I get thinking, we have some scientists here. I don't know if you know that. We flew them in. We paid a lot of money. We gave them a top tier economy class flight right here to Los Angeles. We got some bracketologists, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for some bracketology. That's right. Everyone's favorite segment. Yippee! Said by the world over. Now, here's the thing. We usually have Josh and Brent work together to make a bracket, but we decided to choose violence today. So this is going to be a little different. They're each going to have to make their own bracket, and you guys have a minute, and I think it's a minute 30 seconds. Production will throw up the graphic, but here's the thing. It's starting right now. You got to go. Oh, snap. Oh, crap. I'm so sorry. I'm in your way. Oh, I didn't mean to. It just... Wyatt, it was crazy. The moment I said start, I had to take 5 steps back. I don't know why.
Did you see the speed on Wilkinson? The pace? I thought he was going to sprain an ankle like KD on the way over there. Be out for at least season 3 of the VC.
Yeah. I mean, we got to watch out.
Bren is...
Bren is destroying the set.
I'm knocking the props everywhere.
$500
That's
in
destroying the
property.
It's crazy. That's all going to come out of your paycheck, by the way.
No!
How do brackets work again?
Yeah, I'm forgetting.
I like what Bren's got so far. A whole lot of Loud, and I can get down with that. They've been looking good.
They have been looking good.
They've been looking real good.
It's not bad. Now, remember, for those of you guys watching at home, you can participate in this and vote for who you think is doing this better. Is it Brent or Sideshow? Spam chat right now. Go nuts. Have fun with it, and then keep spamming it the entire time.
These guys hate America.
They really do.
What I'm seeing right
One thing I've noticed...
Where's the patriotism from the 2 British
For as long as
right
I've known Brent and Sideshow, they have hated apple pie. They've hated freedom. Our troops, honestly, just all of it. You know, it's terrible.
Oh my God. You still have a lot to
I didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything.
Just don't go back and watch the
bracket. Focus on the bracket.
Focus on the bracket.
I'm finished. I'm done.
You're finished?
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I was finished until Bren annihilated my bracket as well.
Wait, did you sabotage his bracket?
Of course he did.
No, that sounds like something you would never do.
That looks...
I'm feeling good about mine.
I feel good about mine.
Okay, all right, well, make sure you guys are out there letting us know who you think's gonna win, okay? You can spam Brand or Sideshow in the chat. We have a live poll through the power of technology.
When are we gonna know the
we
results?
can see you.
I don't hate either of these.
I don't
Honestly,
either, actually.
I don't hate...
Okay, Brand,
okay.
why is Loud winning the midseason
Don't
playoffs?
doubt loud, please. Just don't doubt loud.
I need more reasons than
Learn
don't
from
doubt
my
loud.
lessons. Learn from my life lessons. Every time I doubt loud, they
Okay.
make us look like idiots. Every single time. And they're heating up right now at the right time. Last 2 weeks. Listen, they just scraped into playoffs, but I genuinely think they're going to go on an absolute tear.
Okay, so you think that Loud is
beating
not only
Leviathan.
going to go and win, but they're going to beat Crew on their way to do it, and then they're going to beat them again,
Yeah.
and then they're...
Yeah.
Your bracket is whack.
Oh, it's
man.
cooked.
It's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
All right, Sideshow, what about yours? Go ahead, show your work.
All right, okay, so here's the thing. Whoever wins this game is doing the same thing, if it's 100 Thieves or Loud. So if you're a 100 Thieves fan, you want my bracket because they're making the same
So
run
hold
that
on, but
Loud
you've
were.
gone loud.
But
I
you
know.
got them
But what
losing at
I'm-
you.
Nah, because what I'm saying is this game is super close right now. But if 100 Thieves win it, they're doing the same run. They're beating G2.
Can we
they're
hold
beating
on?
Crew
Look at
in
this
the
guy
run.
trying to
this
call
curry
on
favor with both fan
the
bases.
Brazilian broadcast, please, so that I can get some of these points, please, because there's a lot of bias going on here.
There really is, and
If
also
I
the
just had
fact that
100 Thieves winning.
Yeah,
it
that's
all,
actually-
64% and 36% in favor of Sideshow. I have a feeling it's because he's kind of popular on the internet, but
No.
outside of that,
It's because I'm giving the proper amount of respect to Leviathan. They are nuts right now. This guy's got him going in third.
And actually,
They're
if you're
still going to Shanghai.
I don't care. That's disrespect.
No.
Now, with Lev, he's got NA fans voting in, LATAM fans voting in, Brazilian fans voting
He's
in.
working the crowd.
he's playing the numbers game.
He's playing the
Looking for
crowd.
those cheap hops.
Where's the Sentinels one? Get the Sentinels one.
Where's Senna?
Put them in everywhere.
All of it will end, and somehow Sentinel still wins. Fascinating stuff. All right, guys. Well, good job, I want to say, ish, to an extent. You guys, of course, can vote and let us know. Keep voting. Why not? But let's go ahead and get into today's first matchup, shall we? We're going to talk about Alpha Group's second seed, Cloud9. They're coming in today with a 5-1 record. Their only loss at the hands of the Thieves. Wyatt, some might say 100 Thieves stole that from C9, you know, because of the Thieves and the gimmick. But anyway,
Some may say that.
some may.
But I would say they didn't steal it, and they were just significantly better. It was actually
They stole it with-
mostly a
with skill.
well-rounded victory
Yeah, they
that involved no thievery and good preparation and great
They stole it
gameplay.
by being good at the video game.
So, not thievery in any way. C9, though, some may argue a little bit of thievery for some of their wins. Perhaps the first one against Lev that were in the worst state that they'd been in.
Yeah.
And that being a reason why they're 5-1.
Yeah.
You know, you could argue they were. I mean, it's not even an argument. They're in the group that didn't have two teams that went 0-6. So that helps to get a couple wins there. So I do think they have something to prove still. They've been good. Josh is grinning because he's ready to just dunk all over him.
No.
Him and his duck
It's
sweater.
incredible.
Full of hate.
No, it's incredible this team is
Duckling
5-1
sweater.
after they made roster changes. That is amazing. But also, I just love the stat that every
we
team
go.
they played against was winless
Here
when
we
they
go.
played against them.
Classic Will. This is just classic.
This is
Josh.
classic Wilkinson.
You know, it's impressive that they did this, given they're terrible. Is like the classic Josh compliment every time.
I mean, he's spitting though,
Just
no?
say something nice.
He's spitting though, no?
Oxy, Demon. The rest of the team, they are going to have to step up.
I like you were fishing for a thought. You were thinking of a word to say there, and he couldn't find. Well, okay, so that is a fascinating thing. But I think also too, and I don't want to add to this, but I think it is worth talking about because you know there's another thing that was going on with C9, and it was you know the fact that they were struggling to be able to pick up those first map wins.
Yeah.
But they did so last week. The thing is, they did it against MIBR in a match where MIBR is not at their highest form, and C9 right now, I think, are hitting, a good stride. Is it fraudulent? Is this real? Where are we feeling right now?
They did almost toss that map as well, by the way.
That is true.
I mean, they did almost toss that map. And I think this is my biggest issue with Cloud9 is it never feels consistent whenever they get a win. Or, where are the consistent factors where they're going to be grabbing a lot of these wins? And you can't just rely on Oxy getting a 4K on a Thrifty round, like most of the time, which it feels like is the regular.
So is the curse broken?
Is it broken? I think this team has a lot to prove still. Curses, whatever, I don't know. I'm not into witchcraft like you. I don't know if Mercury's in retrograde or what.
What makes you think I'm into witchcraft? Just because I look this way? I'm just... I'm bald. I'm bald. Go on.
That's what it is.
That's what it was.
The bald people.
Another bald person. Go, talk, please. Get me out of here.
C9, one of the things that I'm worried about is that when they let things slip, I feel like they have the tendency to choke. I think we've seen that from the previous versions of C9.
Yeah.
We've seen it in some of their big games where they just kind of shut down, and they really heavily rely on Oxy for both the fragging and keeping them energized in the middle of games. That's too much to ask from a rookie player, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
They
Oxy's
need other
been
people driving them.
Oxy has been very impressive in that role.
I mean, it is too much to ask, but he has done it successfully. So at this point, is it too much to ask? I mean,
it's too much to ask for them to be consistently delivering wins, I think. They've done a great job so far, but I think to be able to win over and over again as they need to in this bracket, that's going to be a lot, man.
Yeah, and you were talking about Oxy before and kind of like the the vibes and whatnot that he brings to the table, and it's definitely evident, but it's also scary for their opponents because whenever he is feeling himself, whenever he's popping off, doing big moves, he's playing very well.
Oh, we won a clutch! Yeah!
Even he's excited they won a clutch. Look at that.
the draw of it all.
This kid's killing me.
Of it all.
He's bringing the vibes to this team. I do love that. And honestly, the most important fact, as much as me and Wilkinson have been the doomers of the table, talking about the consistency of Cloud9, and can you keep it up? Yeah, it's such a good conversation topic. G2, I don't know if they have that firepower because arguably they pick up Icy and they needed him to stand up to the challenge there, or maybe even someone like Leaf to try and put him down, like a player like Oxy. And do they have that firepower to be able to do it? That's the thing. Yeah. This is the reason that Cloud9 are able to get some of these wins is because of that factor. That's the first obstacle you got to clear. If you can't clear it, you're not going to get over that hurdle.
Yeah. Yeah, in order for C9 to choke, you actually have to put the pressure on them.
Yeah.
And like C9 can't just run away with games. We've seen them just smoke opponents.
Yeah.
This is a really good one to start.
Do you think G2 have the capability to put that pressure on them?
I think it's going to be tough for them. I think that's going to be tough. Of all the teams that we have in the playoff bracket, G2 are the team that I think the least equipped to put a huge amount of pressure on C9. And that's just the way that the bracket's played out, in my opinion.
All right, well, let's go ahead and send it over to Elizabeth. It actually has Oxy standing by to get some thoughts on today. Let's take a look.
Oxy, 2 seconds. Thank you so much. Hi, C9. Bye, C9. Thank you, miss. All right. So, we all know you're an absolute menace in the server. So, how many kills total do you think you're going to get today?
I'm thinking about 5, but anything more than that might be a different game, but I don't know.
What if I gave you a Red Bull if you gave me an actual answer?
I'll think about
Okay, I'll see you later.
Okay.
Is Elizabeth out there bribing the youths with caffeine?
Bribing for answers.
Also, there's free Red Bulls too.
It's all over
the offer a little
It's all
bit.
over the studio, guys. I did do the math.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I did do the math. I grabbed all of his numbers from across all the stage. 59. 59 kills is what Oxy has averaged this stage.
What, in like every series?
In every series that he's done.
That's ridiculous.
That is wild.
Yeah.
a lot of
Now, it also could be perplexity.ai throwing me for a loop.
Okay.
But there is a possibility that the math checks out.
It sounds real.
It does sound real.
It does sound real. I mean, pretty crazy, actually, for him at the very end of the season. As of the last game, he became the best statistical player in the league. Up until the last game, it was Ospas and Kesnet who were actually far and away in the lead. And he took it over after the MIBR game. And actually, for the regular season, because of that, he was the best statistical player of any league in the world, which is pretty bad.
He's also the hardest carry player. So the stats that you're looking at right now are how much of the entire team's kills one player gets. And Oxy gets almost 30% of Cloud9's kills.
Oh my
Then
God.
if you look at his first bloods, he gets nearly 50% of his team's first bloods.
Okay.
And the next high is like, you know when we're all watching Kesnit run around, just owning people on the entries?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still 7 points behind.
Trash.
See? Like I've never seen that before. That is just
crazy.
But that's partly because the rest of his team is not there at the same level. You know what I mean? I mean, some of these other guys, Kesnit's got heat
Aspas
up
is in
there.
6.
Yeah, but I mean, Aspas has got like Tex taking a lot of first
that's
place,
what I
and
mean.
King taking a
Fourth
lot
is
of first
pretty
place.
interesting, actually.
So do you think that they're leaning on him a little too much here?
I think they're leaning on him way too much because also I don't think they use a huge amount of utility to set him up. I don't think they load tons of resources into him. They're just putting him out into good positions and relying on his freakishly good talents. But Oxy has done such a great job of stopping himself throwing away rounds. In Kickoff, we saw him throw, I don't know, maybe 30% of the rounds and dominating 70%. He's toned that down way so that he's
And I think it's
only
also his
tossing away a tiny
experience,
amount.
you know, the players that he's surrounded by. I mean, it's very clear that, like, he has been growing as an individual in this team.
I mean, it's only been getting better. Yeah, it has only been getting better. But there's a reason why we raise that as a bit of a red flag. I mean, if there's any way to take that as a negative, and it's just the consistent factor. Like, not even a team like VALORANT with Aspas dominating. We all think of that game where he got, that map where he got 47 kills.
Yeah.
But, Lev don't need him to be popping off to win maps still at this point. Like, they have other consistent factors at play that make them win maps. For Cloud9, it feels like it all leans on his shoulders for Oxy, and it's,
And you would definitely say the same thing what you're saying about Lev for G2 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they are not relying on Icy to be able to win out games and play close matches against high-quality teams like Lev. And I'm still kind of stunned by the stat of Icy getting 31% of the team's first bloods because he never really takes over the game statistically.
No, but the
I
team
suppose
puts him in that
Yeah,
spot.
they put him in a position to at least open it up and then
Yeah.
play off of him, which is good.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of G2, as a matter of fact, you're going to have Cloud9 facing off against a familiar foe on the other side of the stage because you have Leaf, who used to be a part of C9, and he's standing by with Elizabeth. Let's take a listen.
Leaf looking great in the sunglasses. Quick question. I'm sure you've been asked it a bunch, but we got to hear it here. You're about to face your former team, Cloud9, for the first time. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it'll be fun, and I know these people very well, so I think it'll be a good game. But, no hard feelings, whichever way.
All right, well, best of luck.
Thank you.
I didn't realize it was bring your sunglasses to work day. Should have known. I would have brought mine too. Now I just feel left out. Now I'm a douche.
service just rolling deep down the corridor.
Just rock your glasses indoors, kids. Nothing bad can happen. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and dive into this because G2, of course, they've had a little bit of an up and down stage. It hasn't been the best. It's been a win and then a loss and then a win and then a loss. Literally the definition of up and down. But I think that it's something meant to note here that G2 have this tendency where the teams that they're beating are teams that they should be beating.
Yes.
It just feels like at this point they're the gatekeepers of this league.
I think they're trending to that direction. I think they've got a bit of a task ahead of them with this match here, I think, to prove that they're not just the gatekeeper team, because they beat the opponents, of course, that they're supposed to beat, that everybody else is beating, and then they struggle a little bit. They can bring it to close matches, but they never really get it over the hurdle where they're winning against opponents they might be on par with, where there's that parity, for example, with the other teams in the league. So this is going to be a big test for them, I think, this upcoming matchup against Cloud9, because I think they have chances to win for sure, but if they get over this, I think it is actually a bit of a turn of a new start for this team almost, where they're finally getting their footing and finally integrating Icy in some way or form. They're actually getting consistent wins.
Yeah, I think this is it's quite a smart team. I've got a lot of respect for Valin, and I think that the game plan coming into a game against C9 has got to be very heavily focused on either shutting down or running away from Oxy.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll be able to craft game plans that work around that. The question is just, can you actually stop it?
Well, yeah, and then also, too, let's not forget about what happened last week or when we saw G2 take on Loud, and that was, look, they only needed a couple rounds to get in, and boy, oh boy, they squeaked by. Literally just one round is the reason why they find themselves here. But real talk, I mean, Wyatt, Loud gave him a shellacking, top to bottom. It was not pretty.
On map 2, Icebox, yes. On the first map, Bind, which was G2's pick, it went down to the wire, and on the very last round, it was a 2v2 G2, where the G2 players were in a Viper's pit and got randomly sprayed by a Vandal and headshotted. So that came down to the wire, and they definitely could have taken Bind, which also, from Sadhak's calling, was a goddamn masterclass for Loud. They were phenomenal on that map. And then on Icebox, that was the one where they just torched G2. They ran into the late season God mode Loud, which
but I guess the question is,
Sen as well.
Does that mean obviously it looks great for Loud, right? But was that a G2 that was caught off guard, or was that a Loud who were just leaps and bounds better than them? Like, that's the question.
I think Loud are coming into really good form right now, and I think that's.
I mean, you didn't pick them to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I did. I mean, yeah, exactly. I think they're coming into fantastic form, but it also brings up the exact same point we were just making about G2 being that gatekeeper team. And again, you would think that Loud, maybe not a team that they could. I think that they could go toe-to-toe if they showed it in the first map. It was on a nice edge. Arguably, they should have got to OT. I mean, it was literally, like you said, a moment of RNG with just a spray down, taking out the 2 players in the pit. They've got a lot to prove here today, I think. I mean, without me just beating this horse to death by making the exact same point over and over again.
I honestly, yes, they have something to prove, but and calling them a gatekeeper team, sure, but I feel like maybe they're in that category. To me, barely. They're so close to being over the finish line against the elite tier teams. Like, the Icebox game was bad, but the match they had against Lev, that was extremely even. Both teams were playing phenomenal Valorant.
It feels like they're missing something to get them across the line some of the time too, though.
And I think some of the time it's Icy kind of needs to step up a little bit more and provide some more kills for the team, because I think the actual calling, the decisiveness, and how they're playing so confidently with Valen's calls together, the pace at which they're doing it is just as good as the other teams in most of these matches.
But if there has been one area that I feel has been a consistent, reliance for G2, a guy who they always can lean on, it's the person we talked to in the Arrival interview. It's Leaf, because he's formerly a part of C9. We knew him to be this duelist that took space with no problem being in the face of his opponents. Now he's taking a back seat more in the Sentinel role, but he's still, contributing, still putting out those numbers, and probably one of the best people to have in those last man standing situations.
I feel like he takes matters into his own hands as well on certain maps when his team's not getting it over the line. Icebox is a big one. I feel like just Leaf going on these wild flanks of just trying to catch these timings and assist Valen's overall calling. He's saying, I've got the A side of, he gets an opening kill, he gets a multi-kill, whatever. He's consistently salvaging them, I feel like, when he's playing on maps like Icebox. It's the one that really just, immediately comes to mind when I think of his Killjoy gameplay. And it's because of that. He's like almost required to do so on a role that is, I think traditionally just really locked down. You play your role, typically, when you're playing a Killjoy. You don't want to be going out of range of all your util away from the mid-turret or whatever, but he's having to take those liberties on a pretty consistent basis, I find, for the team to be able to get their wins where they do.
Yeah, G2 on Lotus and Icebox have been their best 2 maps, without a doubt, despite that loss to Loud. But at that point as well, Loud have been able to watch so much of their Icebox that is a factor too. Yeah. But regardless of that, on those 2 maps where he's playing Killjoy, he's putting up the craziest numbers. I mean, he has almost, just shy of a 0.9 kills per round on KJ,
which is wild.
Which is nuts. Yeah. And then he has played less maps of the other agents he's playing, Cypher and Viper, but on both of those, he's sitting at around 0.7 kills per round,
so great.
Which is good, but massive difference. I mean, that's 0.9 is, you're a top-tier duelist kind of kill per round number. That is insane.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be a lot of factors that are going to be coming into play here. And one factor that we touched on for a little bit here is Valen. You had the opportunity to catch up with him right as he came in after that loss against Loud. And, I could definitely tell he was a bit like, whoa, that was an experience, But then Valen, though, still, despite that, still puts up great numbers, still calls, masterfully. But I think with C9 today, Brent, it's going to be a different kind of challenge because, you got this team that you don't really quite know what you're going to get going into the server.
Yeah, I think as well, Cloud9's, I guess the thing
are you calling more against them, or are you calling just what what you could do?
The thing is, their win cons, the way they play, I feel like it's not something that you can ante. You can't watch a VOD and ante necessarily. It's for Cloud9, their strengths come down to how well they play off each other in the retakes, or those individual moments, or setting up Oxy really for success. Valen, in this case, is a very smart IGL player, and I feel like he might match up better in terms of his calling against a team that does the expected thing?
I don't know. I feel like the one time that we saw C9 get really abused this season was by a heavy, like, VOD review prep team. 100 Thieves came into that game and they said that they'd broken them down and realized that they barely use any utility. So they were just holding their ground, waiting for the entries that are normally fairly dry and stopping that from happening and continually, like, recontesting, disrespecting because the util was bad. That was their words, not mine.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of approach that G2 should also be having in this spot. Rely on people like Leaf, rely on people like Trent or Jonah to just actually take fights against more people on C9 and see if you can shut down Oxy, and then the rest might crumble like a house of cards.
Yeah, it's going to be really fascinating to see how this all breaks down. Let's find out, though, where we're playing, right? I think you guys want to know that information. Yeah. It could be pretty helpful. So our coaches are ready to go for the map pick, so let's go ahead and see where we're headed.
Alrighty, guys, welcome. As you know, C9 has higher seed. Would you like Team A or Team B?
Team A.
C9's going to get Team A, G2, you're going to get Team B. So C9, you're going to have first map ban.
Ban Breeze.
C9 ban Breeze. G2, what would you like to ban?
We'll ban Sunset.
G2 ban Sunset. And you have first map pick.
Pick Lotus.
C9 pick Lotus. And would you like attack or defense?
Attack.
G2 pick attack. And you have one map pick.
We'll pick Ascent.
G2 pick Ascent. And would you like attack or defense?
Defense.
C9 pick defense. And you have one map ban.
Ban Split.
C9 ban Split. And what would you like to ban?
We'll ban Icebox.
G2 ban Icebox. Default map is going to be bind. C9, you will have side select.
Attack.
C9 pick attack. All right, boys, best of luck today.
So your series layout, it will be Lotus, Ascent, and Bind if necessary. There was a lot of chitter chatter while the pickings were going on. What are you guys yapping about?
I just think it's weird that G2 didn't lean into Icebox. I think it's been a good map for them and one where you definitely see Oxy going very far ahead of the rest of his team and you could potentially work strats to isolate him, but they've just opted away from that completely.
Probably because of the recent loss, right?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, when he just got demolished.
Yeah.
I mean, Ascent makes some level of sense if you're going to counter-strat this team after Cloud9 got absolutely slapped around.
C9's attack side looked
awful,
really poor.
They could not do anything. Cryo's opping just had them ruined on their attack side when they played Ascent.
But the other thing is map 1 Lotus. We were just talking about G2 having a pretty solid Lotus, so that's fascinating.
I think their Lotus is phenomenal. They lost to Lev 13-9, I want to say. But the game was even closer than that score, in my opinion. Like, it was down to the wire, just a couple crucial rounds at the end where gunfights, if they went a different way, they might have been able to win that series 2-1, as it was 1-1 at that time. Their defensive calling was so good. Their reactions to what Lev were doing in the round were always perfect. And they were called so quickly by Valen, and the team's reaction as a whole to what he was calling, what Lev were doing, was just, everything was on point. All the timings were on point. They were so fast. It was really good. I was really blown away by their play on that map.
I think G2 might have made out like bandits.
Well, I was going to ask, like, what is the consensus here? I feel like G2 kind of is sitting pretty here.
The thing is, though, C9, if they've got either different ideas or they just start out really well with like a pistol and then a bonus and they can, take away op money on Ascent or start to get Oxy really fired up and they don't get into the like low vibe potential choke, it's less about the maps when C9 play, I think.
Yeah, I think
they're
such a momentum-based team. If they start off on the right foot, like you said, with a pistol round, get the money going, Oxy gets a 4K out of nowhere. Yeah. The whole team's riled up. They feel empowered.
Pistols have been statistically really good, but it's not something I ever noticed watching them. That was just something I was looking at earlier today. It was like 65%.
It's like, oh, hey, this number's good. We never talked about it.
But the thing is, when stats match up with the eye test...
55. I started looking at pistol round stats. Like, oh, my
Well, he probably had to make a prediction because...
Nerd!
And spin up the predictions for the broadcast team because this is what all of us went and picked. I went with G2. You
guys went G2?
I remember filling this out.
Great choices, my friend.
Yeah,
great choice.
I never bet against my boy Valen.
Great choice.
I never bet against my... Hey, handshakes, good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Well
done.
It's only Bren on the desk, actually, that's gone with something different. But there's a huge smattering of different Preds from all over the place. I think these are really difficult matches to call because there's win cons for both teams, right? It's just about who actually is able to execute on it.
Yeah. Are we going to roll with this, like, the C9 bat on the first map thing? Are we going to keep rolling?
I mean, it's up to
with
them.
that narrative?
I think
because if
it's their choice.
It is. I mean, and it is. And listen, if we're rolling with the narrative, which I don't even necessarily believe, and they're going on to Lotus, which is really good for G2, then they have to play a map they suck at, and then they have to play another really good G2 map.
That's tough.
They could be in trouble. They could be, if we believe in the narrative.
Okay, well, it seems like we just have to believe in the narrative, guys. That's all we got to do. All right, folks. Well, now it's time to get day one underway of the mid-season playoffs. It's going to be a good one, folks. We got great matches across the board. C9 versus G2. 100 Thieves are going to be taking on Loud. You already know what I'm going to say. VCT America starts right now.
Zeppa gets that pick. Oxy also fighting towards the B side and in the front. Making the way down short. Coventine sends a flash up there. The balance good for two.
I think G2 is a great team. I've been really close friends with most of those guys pretty much the entire time they've been in Valorant, like Valen, Trent. It'll be fun to play them. They're a great team, obviously, and they just added Icy, who I think is really good, but he's been underperforming so far, but I think he'll turn it around.
14 rounds. That's what they're looking for here. They've leveled up though, of course. It's Icy already in the showers, and the playoff, the flash is perfect.
We're watching the games. We know how they're going to play. You know, Oxy's just going to run at us and stuff like that. And if we can't stop it, then we're going to get run over. But we have confidence in knowing what they're going to do.
Oh, boy. It's a judge. It's a jump. It's a judge. 3 kills coming through.
I would say G2 in general is very strat heavy, anti-strat heavy, I guess, from like the past experiences against them. But I mean, overall, they have a good system. They have a good IGL.
Now I'm a lot more comfortable with the people around me and stuff like that. And I just think that I'm comfortable in knowing what we're going to do and what we're capable of. So it makes me a lot more confident.
Riot Games Arena, it's time for playoffs! Make some noise for Cloud9!
Put that on Bible, no excuses, gotta get to the final. Take all of my idols and turn them to rivals. It's all or nothing, man, the trophy is vital. Game time, bet I'm coming in clutch, no hang time, man, they can't keep up. The game's on the line, seconds on the time. Who can't fight? It's gotta be us. Under pressure, go ahead and let it fall on me. I'm destined for it all, you better call on me. They say what doesn't kill you make you stronger. All that pain, it done made me to a monster.
And let's bring out their opponents for this do or die elimination match. Make some noise for G2!
We've been up for several summers, seeking how to step in commas. If you with us, buy the bundle. Say you survive the bundle. Barely time to buy the bundle. For this turn that average rumble. Cause you know we titans in this game, ain't no contest. If we take it to the game, turn a wild west. We ain't faking what I claim, it's a wild threat. No rook, we been a vet. Now check the mindset, by the name of G2. How to take over the world, how we come through. Just follow in the herd, we don't have to. Best forget about what you heard, probably ain't true. This ain't go to, cause you know it's G2. How to take over the world, how we come through. Just follow in the herd, we don't have to. Best forget about what you heard, probably ain't true. This ain't go to.
It's a do-or-die elimination matchup. Win, you move on to the competition. Lose, and your stage is done. I was going to say season for a minute, but we have way more to play. But, of course, for both of these teams here, it's going to be high pressure. We have to see whether or not Cloud9 can come out of the gate swinging, or does G2 have the response right out of the gate? It's going to be entertaining.
Yeah, I think G2 actually, even in the broader picture, might have a bit more to play for, because remember, you get points for every playoff match that you win as well, and Cloud9 already have 5 of those.
Yeah.
So G2 really need to be racking up wins here, even if you're thinking about like making it to champs later on. These kind of matches are going to be important now and also in the long term.
It's going to be intense, of course, for G2 to try and see if they can slow down Oxy and the boys over in Cloud9. Wyatt, there's certainly going to be a challenge there, and whether or not Oxy can be that playmaker that he has been for them all stage.
I think it was Lotus was the first map that Oxy had a crazy play on in Kickoff.
Four piece of the Sheriff.
With the Sheriff, yeah, that was the first Oxy moment of the year. And really, with the agents, like, the only difference that I can think of with these two teams is that C9 like to play the Gecko on this map. I think they're the only team in...
Yeah, the Geckos
that I believe play the Gecko.
Yeah, it's an interesting twist on things. Also, if you're looking at this map, watch out for C9's flood defenses of B. They look phenomenal when they flood defend that site. It's really difficult. If G2, and Valen actually does like to end B quite a lot. G2 have plenty of strats on their attack side where they end towards B, and they're going to get brutalized if they're not ready for that kind of thing.
And honestly, I feel the exact same way about G2. In that game against Lev, their floods into B were really nice. I think that both teams kind of exuding that same great defensive quality.
Putting a side bet on there be any different compositions. I mean, for Lotus, I don't think it's going to be the case.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, no, I mean the Gecko, obviously, but I'm saying, like, the expected. Like, are they going to go even crazier? We're going to see, like, Brimstone, Cypher,
Brim.
Clove comes out. Clove coming out would be pretty hot.
Yeah. We're gonna see
it's going to be pretty standard stuff, I think. And I think the beginning of this map is going to be defining quite a bit overall in the series. Because like you said, in theory, we've looked at the map pool. G2 should have that edge, I think, in terms of just having Lotus and a center to play into. But I feel like if Cloud9, if they start on the right foot, and they start off hot, and Oxy's hitting, and the firepower's there, who from G2 is going to shut it down?
Yeah, and that's what Leaf was saying. You know, it's not just us that have identified this as being the dynamic in the game. Leaf, in that interview you just heard from him, was saying, we know Oxy's going to run at us, and if we can deal with it, we're going to win. And if we can't, we're going to get run over, and this is going to be like 13-3, 13-3. So there is just massive variance in this match.
Who's on the attack side? That's a massive factor.
It's a phenomenal question to ask, which I absolutely should know.
Well, I don't know it either. That's why I'm asking.
You would think that we all would know it.
And Josh are scrambling.
Pull up the stats.
It is Cloud9.
Cloud9, dude, I mean, I think that's a massive edge for Cloud9, I'm not going to lie. The teams that start attack side, when you're up that many rounds, presumably if you're able to snowball the advantage, listen, it all starts at the pistol round, but you could just keep that going all the way to a win.
Could be wrong.
No, it's possible.
You could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
It might not be Cloud9.
Well, you know what? Good news, guys. We're going to find out right now because it is time to get this first pistol underway for your mid-season playoffs. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters, a couple drama lovers themselves. It's Vansili and Riv.
Thank you, GB. Looks like they're having a lot of fun at the desk today. And also, Liz was mentioned on the stage that this is a do-or-die match between C9 and G2. And I'm looking at some fun in this one as well, because I think we're going to come out with some strong firepower, and it's going to get explosive.
I mean, you're already going to have fun watching Oxy try to do Oxy things. The desk mentioned it. Can Icy do Icy things, though, and bring up the other side of that duelist competition here? Because it's kind of what Cloud9 uses as their bread and butter right now, and they can fall back on a few other things if they don't have Oxy going off. We'll see as they come into this match. Already, Oxy did have the Boomba on him, but then he says, no. Probably said, I want a Sheriff this round, guys. Buys up the Sheriff. So, Ray's Sheriff there. Ghosts on the other side that we see coming through. There's some armor onto the Omen and the Killjoy, as we see on this attack side for Leaf and Valen. So, we'll see what they have in store for Cloud9. Whether or not this is the full hit, G2 looking to pressure up towards Rubble and start it as C9. All set up for B here. They may start to push through if they don't hear anything right away.
Yeah.
But an explosive defensive start if they did see G2.
Exactly. Sheriff was going to be the contact. They had two players for trade, but for G2, looks like it's more utility, right? Only two ghosts as they're looking to work together and scale towards this A site. You already see the utility coming through, pushing them away, and little did he know, this is a retake play for C9 from the get-go.
Yeah, they're happy with it. G2 feeling comfortable. Just run the A strat. Stick together, get in. They have mollies for post-plant. Leaf had two. I believe one might have just been used to clear out already as they start going in.
Both Paranoids just came out, so this is a call for C9 to move in and for G2 to hold the post plant. It's planted for a tree as Oxy trying to move in with the Sheriff. There's that headshot to Jonah B. There's only 3 players left alive for G2 on his post plant on the attack as Leaf just got spotted at the double stack. Now the shot through the wall, the headshot from Moose. The player is falling down for G2, and C9 has a clean retake to score first.
Really clean retake. Having the Dizzy, having the Gecko utility to get in and save. And we saw it was Oxy and Zeppa kind of on that side of the site that goes towards tree, guarding each other as the rest of C9 cleared the other parts. So a good protocol to come in knowing where to back each other up and how to do it. And yeah, G2 left on the outside of this one. And they had time to set up. They had time to lock in.
Nice!
Yes, sir. Hey, they lost pistol. Is the game over?
Game over.
Hey, it's still map 1, right? It's still map 1. We have to remember for Cloud9, they were able to stave off a map 1 loss last week. Can they do it again? Oxy already feeling good, gassing everybody up. Guardian there for the squad. And it looks like they will play a 1-2-2, not looking to pressure any of this forward B this time, as that's where G2 is actually headed right away.
Yeah, full classics towards the B side. If they waste or they meet the utility here on the B side, they can pull back and maybe open the door to fight towards C. But Vanity's already there, getting ready to throw the paranoia if needed B. But as you see that, it was a roadblock towards this B side. There's still that pivot towards the C side, but not through the door, so Vanity could get caught here. Throws the paranoia, looks to fall back, and manages to come back unscathed. Still under heavy pressure, and there's Moose finally on the rotate until Vanity decides to call to stay in put because he's not getting pressured anymore. They cut noise for G2.
That was big info, too. He had at least 2 or 3 footsteps, and then getting the confirmation that is Leaf in the squad there. Pushing back as Zeppa so to not get taken out by Rubble, and they'll play more of a retake on this once again. G2 did a nice job finding the soft site, figuring out where they might get the less numbers of C9, and we're going to go through tree. Another plant here, too.
Yeah. Very clean no matter what here for G2. Making them think here that C9.
Yeah.
They had to put a lot of players towards this B side so they could farm these orbs up for Trent as well. Past halfway mark on the Nightfall. And if they get a plant down, this is actually pretty good for them to continue on into the next round. But
Guardian
got denied. All around here towards that site. C9's weapon's too strong, so Trent's going to stay behind. Can't get that plant down. Picks up Guardian, though. But he just got flanked. Shots missing, though, from Vanity, but at least they have the information. There's 10 seconds left, and you'll still see C9 closing in and converting that pistol.
C9 too, keep 3 alive as well. Getting a few of the priority weapons back up off the floor. See where they toss these around to as we rewatch this round here. Great activation. Knowledge from Moose there to just get a few pre-fires in too. Both of them nailing Icy on the way in.
Almost like that Ray's got 1-2 punch trying to get in there. One in the stomach, then the backflip.
That's what you have to do to Icy right now, right? They said you have to shut down the other duelist. Icy's trying to be on the front line of this and get G2 into the site so everybody else can crash in. You take Icy out like that each time and they're forced to just contact the round and, like we saw, get to A with not really any information on the map. All right, towards Rubble once again here now that we have a bonus round for C9. G2 is going to feel comfortable with these weapons. Yeah. Good util already moving forward on the haunt. Do they insert somebody here? Because it's a repeat of the first round, right? Or do they back up and start messing with a bit of the util?
Well, the util's there first, and then that's easy for Trent to pick up here this Nightfall. So that is going to be that winning condition for G2 to turn it around. As the Leaf is walking up towards the staircase, they don't even need that Nightfall to start. Only Zeppa stuck inside that A site. Vanity thinking that somebody's going to be pushing through, and he reads it correctly. Leaf gets picked off, and that's a weapon upgrade. Now it's a rotate coming in. They break up baby door, moving towards this B side. Stopped by Oxy with the paint shells, and now G2's pinched, but they're moving towards where it's weak. There's that haunt to move. Oh, the double dink, but no kill coming through. At least Vanity and Oxy are there to trade it off, and it leaves it down to a 1 versus 1. Phantom upgrade. Trent on that plant. Boombot coming in to clear up towards the left side. Give me a chance here for Oxy to clear up the space and gain that space. And after that, Boombot connects. Knows that Trent's in the back sight. There's that C's that's going to catch him for a bit. Still not waiting for this tap. So for Trent, he's thinking that Oxy's flanking behind. But Oxy has a correct read. There's a side step. I got heard! A backstab execution in the end, and Oxy wins that round.
And a big one, too. Everybody going down on that, so we already know it's going to be a tough buy coming in here for G2. C9 should feel pretty good on this. And to look at the way G2 is playing the game as we go back through the replay, you look at C9 and they don't have the fade. They don't have a sky. So G2 is doing a lot of these walk-up strategies. You're not going to catch a bird. Most you're going to catch is a dizzy, and you shoot the dizzy out. And that's actually a waste by the Gecko because you're going to need that maybe for retake.
Nice!
Come on, are you nervous?
Okay.
So yeah, I like the way G2's playing. It's the post plant that's really where they're suffering here. They don't have to do too much to take control of all this space. They're not having to avoid util, and C9's playing pretty far back. But it's about the post plant now for G2. Can they set up? Can they garrison themselves enough inside, or maybe start pushing forward a bit to throw C9 off? Because once C9 has this util to retake the site, it just becomes too much. And back towards A, the walk up, right?
Recalling my
Walk up that was spotted by Moose, though, right? The jump spot came through, and you're looking, and you're seeing these early rounds, though. Every time they open this door, that biggest piece of util to flash towards that side is already used by VALORANT inside tree. At least they take control of that. They satchel in for G2. They're just looking for this plant on this mixed bind that they have. So we're deciding to plant for tree as well. Too much hesitation going through there. That's 3 spot decided to try to get the right plant, and now it got caught off, and that spike is down. Icy's trying to answer back with whatever he can. Only a sheriff in his hands. Paranoid coming in from Vanity. The satchel towards the air. Shots are missing. Oxy is dancing. And there's only Trent left. And that should have been an easy plant to build that economy for that beginning of that round, but there's like a big mistake that came through from G2.
C9 is feeling very comfortable on the retake here. Not really feeling like any pressure that G2 is going to set up is working. G2 also, as you mentioned, being indecisive in whether they feel comfortable in the situation they've created. They get to site and they didn't even want to get the spike down because they feel like C9 is going to come in so quick with what they've been setting a precedent on before and how they've been retaking the site. So C9 just striking fear into G2 right now. Back to a gun round. Just need to take a breath, relax. I think we heard Josh RT say in a Pedro interview that the one time he did call a timeout, it was to slow the team down. He liked what they were saying. They just didn't like how fast they were playing and how quickly the game was getting out of control. So maybe slowing it down here a little bit is what they need. And Oxy, he's just going to start it off anyways on the first little jiggle peek.
Yeah. When you slow it down there, you have to play the bodies to try to peek because you want to save the paranoia for the actual hit towards the site. Or using your bodies, you're jiggle peeking, but Oxy seems to be really quick on that trigger for today's game. And that forces now G2 to once again work towards this A site where that Killjoy utility is at, left behind by Moose. Prowler now coming in from the attack from G2, clearing the whole site. So finally they'll know it's a safe plant out for A main. Push towards that spawn. Moose was always ready for that.
Yeah.
Gives a chance now for all of Cloud9 to be all grouped up towards heaven.
That's the second time Moose has started these retakes from that drop spot. So even knowing that he's there, still grabbing it. And here goes Oxy.
Showstopper clears out the site, so they'll know the push is coming in towards the spawn once again at the staircase. Vanity slowly moving through as the rest of the attack on G2 are pushing down that staircase. There's that flank from behind as Trent and Jonah P still got 2 before they fell, leaving Icy alone. 1 versus 2. Nice one tap. Long range there. Comes in for the clutch, and that's a way to step up here in your important game, Icy.
Incredibly important. Also get that momentum under the duelist to feel comfortable in these matches. And look at that. Not even getting overhyped on it. Icy knows there's more work to do in this match right now, in this series versus C9. And it starts here. A beautiful 3K to hit it. And A has worked. Where else have they gone? They have walked up to A. They've been figuring out the post plant to A. Now they lock one in. Emmy's feeling the pressure. He knows how much A has taken a hit here. And where's G2 going? They can go to A, but now they flex towards somewhere else on the map, and C9 is going to be less ready than before, thinking this A is what is favored, and that's what G2 is going to hit, and they may be very right. Playing a little slower here. G2 just waiting out some util, and again, we've mentioned it before, they're not going to get a Trailblazer or a Guiding Light, so it's jump peaks. Last time they saw Moose, still decided to push. They're waiting for the jump peaks, waiting for the looks. Towards the other side of the map now, and they're going to get the rotation. Okay, Moose actually slows it down in Waterfall, and he doesn't go all the way towards B just yet.
Yeah, trying to stay in range of that turret, so they could try to delay it. That's the name of the game right now for Moose and for Rooney towards his B and C side. And as that Haunt gets thrown by G2 towards C, and that turret gets broken, you start seeing the players pivot a little bit across here towards the C side. Here's a Showstopper coming out from Icy. And they're just going to wait it out here to play that retake. They have also a lockdown for G2 to delay even more. So you have to keep them alive here in this post plan.
Here comes Thrash.
And then that lockdown immediately gets put down on the attack, though. So that's not going to give too much information for C9. No lineups to break that lockdown either. And looks like C9 looking to flood through. Finally gets broken, but they've lost players in the process. It's a full roster still alive for G2 in this post line. You definitely know now for Moose and for Rooney, they're going to give this up. and try to save these weapons for the next round. A nice clean take for G2.
Yeah.
Using these ults to take that C site and to hold it in his pulse plant.
Beautiful macro overall the last few rounds. Training C9 that A was the favorite. G2 get a free site on C, locking in the ults too. And C9, a little discombobulated on the retake, thinking Thrash saw more than it did. And the main focus became the lockdown too much. Running into the site, nade out. No one was really ready for the corners. Again, thinking Thrash had cleared. So C9 can still get caught in the chaos. You see that G2 can make it happen here as they manifest a few rounds for themselves with that pressure towards A and then C. Yeah, just that placement. Normal clear spot, but the focus became so much the lockdown to think they could route G2 there. So we're going to look for C9 to be calling a timeout on this one, as G2 have found a way kind of around the defense, what C9's doing, playing this hard retake. So how does C9 come back from it? Maybe they start more extremities. Oxy went on Mound one time, got that really quick kill over onto Leaf as they started the round. The extremities have been given here to G2, so maybe C9 start to get in their face a little bit more.
Yeah, Noxy has found a little bit of success here on how he was playing aggressive on that Mound too.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely no rubble fights that we've seen throughout these beginning of the rounds. But 4 rounds that you have to start things off on Cloud9 is a great start now on a map like Lotus. And you'll give a chance now for both teams to continue to work some objectives here. You have Rooney and Moose 1 away from their ults, while you also have, once again, Trent with a Nightfall 1 away from that one. And the last time they were 1 away, they went fairly quick here towards this A side to take control of Rubble that hasn't been contested yet to try to get that orb up. You see, there's a change of pace, though, for C9. There's 3 players out there, nobody on C.
They actually think it's going towards A again. This is the KJ setup. You have the turret by door, so it could look left side, a few bits of utility in B, but this allows Killjoy to now rotate over towards the right side stairs a little bit more and keep that turret, that B focus, alive. So it's not an extremity play. It's just to lean towards the side of the map where they think G2 is going to go. And now G2 start to get a little leaf lurk on. And see if C9 will venture across the map. Valen's ult's ready. Trent's just on 1, so they could go for a Nightfall right into tree and through A here as they just pan this round down second by second. Waiting to get those movements out of C9. I think waiting the previous round before gives G2 a good idea that it will make C9 move. They will absolutely choose a site, and G2 is going to get that result again just by waiting the round out.
What a great call there by Valen. Just cut noise for that whole minute mark. Pulling that wall up. This is going to be a free orb, but as they see nobody contesting him, this could just be a walk contact, but instead, there's that tap. Nightfall is up. With that orb being picked up, there's an audible call by Vanity that he hears something. He has to delay a little bit more so that his teammates can rotate back from the C side. So they gambled that it was a walk in towards C. And they read incorrectly, forced now to play the retake once again towards this A site.
Pushing forward a bit into stairs. Moose reads that Leaf is going to be playing outside B, so they're going in 5v4 on the retake.
And I've identified here this aggressive push that's been going out towards that staircase consistently, and Jonah P gets that pick onto Vanity. But there's more players to try to help out. First off, defending the lockdown first. Nice little satchel there from Oxy to move forward to get that pick on Jonah P, but he gets caught by Icy as he was reloading. Looking for that second one on top of the staircase. A tap onto the spike from Zeppa. Snake bites going in towards the tree, but the Cloudfire has still been set up, doubled up here towards that tree side. But it is going to be C9 land up the scoreboard for a bit until it's a 1 versus 1, until there's no time left. Valen holds it tight, plays the time, and plays the off angle to win that round against Moose.
Some scrappy rounds are really going to start affecting the economy, and we'll see as it comes through more later in this half. But what an incredible round by round here from Valen to bring 3 back into the favor of G2. From the slow play to C1 round, the slow play this round making C9 think it was going to be C again, but it's the post plant. That's still where we have some questions. Yeah, G2 won the post plant, but it is coming down to the wire on these. The LMS from both sides, and it is coming up on Valen that time though. So they keep the momentum. It was Trent's ultimate that helped him get in there, but only 3 ult points back on that. Jonah P close to the Viper's pit as they start to look for chip damage here from C9. Knowing that they probably won't give too much more. These jump peaks are all C9 has to really get info on where G2 is going to be. So G2 is going to take a little bit of an opportunity and spray everything on those edges. Let's see if Oxy Sheriff can get some work here. Playing first contact. They do have mound control from Rooney, but G2 is just rinse and repeat with this strategy. They can get so close. They're at the front door by the time they execute.
You're trying to do some 50 pop damage here with the Sheriff and Zeppa following behind with the Stinger. Leaf moving forward with the Odin. The elbow pointed out from Oxy, and that's an easy kill. Now Paranoia pushing forward. Nice TP moving in from Val to get that pick, and that stack coming in from the C9 side rather. Gets fully denied just from that simple walk-up contact play by G2.
That's Pit. I don't even know if it's needed this round. 5v2. They should be able to lock this in, and mostly saves here for Moose and Rooney. And C9 are, with this composition, having a lot of trouble reading the first bit of info on the map. Not sure what they can do to even start getting that info. They don't have the C's nade to really throw G2 off. Again, they can't Guiding Light or Trailblazer things, and if they dizzy, it's got to be almost be a returnable dizzy, right? A way that it can bounce back to Zeppa so you can reuse it, because it's been a game of retakes. Yeah, tough for C9 here. After those first few rounds, and G2 has figured out the way they can just continuously put pressure on the map without having to care about utility.
Yeah. With G2 tying up the game, you definitely could see here that they're definitely not nervous.
No.
In this game head-to-head. Nice damage being done by Moose.
Great damage there.
Dying with the Guardian in hand. That's not 2-man 2. He could have a pretty okay buy in the next round.
And yeah, just modeled here based on the distance from the edge. A quick kill by Leaf as they creep up. And this is going to be tough. G2 feels like they are in... By the way they're playing, it looks and feels like they're in full control of the map. It's hard to stop a team that does that, but maybe C9 switch it up. They're going to be at the A. Maybe it's a play.
You're right, though, that they have full control of the map because C9's not really contesting it.
Nope.
Right, at this point, they're holding at the beginning with this type of utility towards Rubble, but what happens after when you don't or are not able to find information right after? You're pulling back at the sites, not pushing towards the other extremity when you're not seeing that pressure. And now there's that first sign of contention towards the front C site, and that's Moose coming into contact, forced to fall back for a bit, but still has the alarm bot pretty much placed here that we know that Zelsis likes to put.
Imagine to re-hit A.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Could it ever happen? Well, they actually have Vanity inserted this time. Not something we have actually seen C9 be able to do in any of these rounds since they've been playing a retake focus. And they have to get a few of these guns out of the G2 hands. The economy's building. Alt economy as well. And G2's map read here is just too good.
You have a Prowler to work with, too, if they want to
look from Zeppa.
Rubble, but
Zeppa
once again,
sees.
G2 once again is walking for the contact, and there you go. Zeppa's side, the Paranoia comes out, but no shots come through. No trigger discipline to come out. You're trying to play the hero play alone from Rubble after that flash. Because that Viper Wall comes up and you have no help at all. And that's a site that was open towards this B site now because G2 broke that door and pivoted over while C9 was rotating towards this A site. They managed to come back on time now for Cloud9. Nice paint shells at the feet of Valen. Plant coming down, but Oxy pushing forward. Another to fall, flicking over towards that left side. But gets denied here by Icy. Once again, Icy taking the upper hand fight against Oxy. And the pit comes down for G2 on the pulse plant.
The 3v3.
Bot coming back.
The lineups too. You see it from their front B side, out from Leaf. Lands right onto that spike. And that's going to delay even further. Giving a chance here for Leaf to move with the rest of his teammates. Even to go for the pinch in case his teammates fell down on that baby door. But everybody's being decayed so far inside that pit. Going to be very difficult to defuse. And G2, they take the lead now on the map of Lotus.
In a streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clearly having the answer to what they need to do and what C9's trying to put into action to defend G2 strategies. A little bit of a push up here. We see at round 9, the first round, G2 go B, and it's through baby door. Really didn't even have too much of the front lurk on that one that needed to be used in the strategy. And just being able to understand how C9's moving on the backside of the map, and Valen is reading it so well right now. So they go back for a bit of this A play, continue the same utility in the beginning to give C9 that same look. And now they do. Straight front B. But where's the Killjoy utility this time?
Yeah.
This is incredible.
They're low on economy this time around too for C9, so you're going with a half buy and just trying to use your rifles here or the submachine guns that you bought, but Showstopper still gets invested. Lands onto Jonah P, but Icy once again is there. Counter Showstopper on the attack for G2 as he drops his spike for his teammates to plant, and he's clearing up the site here, clearing the space, gaining the space for G2 towards the top of that B. Looks like C9 wants to answer right back. Immediate flash coming out from Vanity to clear up the top of the B site. Smoke in the front, but everybody's moving in individually now. For C9. Nightfall invested for G2 on the pulse plant. It lands with 2, so they identified a third one being loose outside on that A side. Breaking that door, taking him down, and now Rooney's left alive with the Vandal that he has. Might want to save it once again. But as you were mentioning there, the first start from G2 when they conditioned so many times the takes towards that A side, used a bit of util, and because of that lower buy that C9 had and they pivoted towards that A side, once again, another great call by Valorant to instantly go back towards that B site where it was so weak. There was only one player left as everybody else rotated to help towards that A site.
All right, where are we at? How are we doing? Icy 10 and 6, Oxy 10 and 8, Moose above that 11 and 7. So they're still getting the shooters in there, but they've been quieted down over the past few rounds here by G2 as they start to step up again. We see Icy on the screen right now. He's still playing after the round, getting all the APM in. All right, back towards C with the util. Different setups on each one here, just trying to see what will work against G2 and what might catch them for a bit of an advantage. Mound is the play as C9 again go for rubble control. And this is one of the times they're going to have more info than most info rather, and more than they've had before. But can they play off it? It seems like it's already being read slightly here by Trent and the rest of the squad. They decide not to fight what could be a push, and they're going to go right towards Moose again.
And that was the call from Mimi from that timeout, finding a window of opportunity finally to push out towards A main, and they do so, but they're still having to walk through because they anticipate Leaf still on that lurk. Lockdown now being used to delay even more coming out for Moose, and that's going to push everybody back here towards these players.
Beautiful.
Oxy getting ready. There's that first headshot there. The Odin is down from Leaf. Pain shells to push him back, and he makes some noise to fake that he's falling back while he has that support from Zeppa close range. No util to have out, so this allows Oxy to pop off, leaving out Zeppa on against Jonah P. But he's able to at least to save those trades. And now standing alone with 30 seconds left against 3 players, head-to-head, long range against Rooney. Shots are missing, forced to fall back towards C. But he's pinned with nowhere to go.
Who else than to pull around after 6 straight rounds? You see a 4K from Oxy. The push up by C9 finally putting G2 into a little prison in their own spawn there for a moment. And they're going to wait it out. Jonah to A.
Great rotate from Rooney.
10 seconds
Read that
left.
like a book. Here's the footsteps. Hello. Goodbye. C9 with the round. Finally, after so many unanswered by G2.
Last round in the half.
And it took the move out. It took the play. They couldn't just play defense. Cloud9 had to go to play offense to get that round from the defensive side. They have been way too quiet here on this first half. And they wake up a bit there. Oh, all chat all-star, huh? Okay. All right, getting in there. Getting in there.
With the smirk at the same time. I love it.
All right, last round of the first half here. Let's see if C9 do the same amount of push and try to get themselves back in that advantage. Moose easily playing backside and keeping himself safe here. And you can see lined up for G2 behind everybody is Leaf. Still holding it down, but he's got the operator.
And when they realize here after the alarm bug gets broken up,
back to Vandal buy.
Leave here to look back towards that A side.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely to look back towards the early peak on that C site. Now picks up the Vandals. They work together here for G2 as they had a lot of money to work with here in this last round.
Yep.
And getting blocked and barricaded by that Viper's Pit on that C site. And have to rework now that map on Lotus where a couple of players are looking to once again walk contact for G2 towards that front of that B site. Oxy is there with help from Zeppa. And 1 kill will activate a showstopper from Zeppa as well. So they want to keep him up front. Misses to Haunt though, hit by the paranoia. There's that thrash that's going to save here Oxy for a bit.
Yeah, good protection.
That's going to reset G2.
They head back to the right side. Familiar space for them in this first half so far, already towards Tree. They don't sync it up too much, but they get themselves into position and easily into that space of A here. So we go back to the retake here for C9. Rooney can jump right in and throw the ult down if they want, but do they have the position?
The boom bot missed, but Zeppa and Trent and also Jonah P are going back and forth inside that A side. 12 seconds left on the clock. Leaf on a late lurk.
10 seconds
Plant
left.
will go down, as this might be the pivotal kill right here from Leaf's position at the revolving door. Haunt being thrown here towards that back. Door gets opened up, but the wall came down. Miscommunication coming through. Showstopper that we talked about is now at the ready for Oxy. Popped up and looking to clear towards that back of the site.
Oh dear.
Tap on that spike, a stick on that spike, and Trent's moving around the corner. Lands that shot. It's almost getting defused, and now you're forcing him off of it. Vanity gets that pick. It's down to a 1 versus 1. Classic left hand to Trent. Missed the first shot. It's at half. Trent gets the headshot too. It stays around for G2.
What is up with classics today?
Switching
From
sides.
EMEA to here. Oh my gosh, what a round. Pulling out the classic there. I thought it was just dead to rights, but no. Plays the jiggle, gets the right click. Beautifully done. And we'll see this again as Zeppa picks up too quick, but G2 so well at recovering in these situations right now.
And that Showstopper missing just around the corner, not clearing that spot. Such a pivotal spot there for Trent to be able to win that round there for G2 and take the lead now in this half for G2, 7-5 so far. But earlier we spoke with Leaf about his mindset heading into the playoffs and what's different in 2024. So let's check it out.
I mean, I think compared from last year, I think I've mentally matured a lot more, and obviously I've swapped roles. New team, you know, different personalities and stuff like that. But I think that the main thing is just that I learned that just calm down. Like, I think that was like my whole thing last year, is that there's times, and like you can even see it like now in some players, and sometimes they get rewarded for it, kind of like how I did last year, where they just are very antsy and they make every decision very quick. And that's good, but sometimes when the pressure's high and like maybe you're not hitting your shots and stuff like that, it's not the best. So yeah, just making sure I'm mentally in it, because I know like in terms of like individual, I'm set, but just making sure that I'm mentally strong will be like the main deciding factor.
Definitely shows there on that first half of Lotus with what Leaf was talking about too, trying to stay calm under that pressure, and even with the trash talk from Vanity asking if G2 were nervous on a great start from C9, they were able to pull it back.
It looks like they were
out there from Josh RT.
They were not nervous.
No, definitely not. Shots were landing. Icy's also doing a great job at the same time too, right? Somebody that you know has been under the microscope actually ever since they did that roster change here for G2. And when he started from week 1 to week 5, it was okay performances here and there, but he's definitely done some great job now for G2 rather on the attack, especially that nice little satchel dodge there against Oxy's Showstopper to be able to clear out that B side. So definitely finding his groove in his match today here as G2 now take the defensive side.
And I think their slow it down strategy they kind of instilled last week to start bringing some rounds back is something they're using here. Very slow on their attacking side to go left and right and sort C9 out of their defensive positions. But now G2 go on the defensive side, C9 get on the attack. And we'll have to see how they use this composition. Few flashes with the paranoia and the dizzy to be making their way into sight. Pretty good attack side here. And they should have an easier time than they did trying to defend with G2 just walking up into their faces on that last half. So Spike's grab. Pretty default setup here for C9 to figure out how G2 wants to play the whole role of the map. And it might be just this A hit to start us off. Good lurk though by Moose. Let's see if he can get some extra information.
Very similar for C9 too. Only 2 ghosts wielded in this round with lots of util on their side to try to work the A side, but it's a walk contact instead. Can get the trades as Trent lights up 3 to start things off, and that's a spike as well. Bad spacing from C9 to try to go for that trade and cost them dearly. And that's Zeppa that's going to have to recuperate that spike and work alone here as Moose is trying to make a play, trying to cut the rotate, playing in front of that turret. Breaks it finally, but Leaf is looking to fight it. Here's a reload, goes for that swing. Now there's Trent trying to bait out the shots. He lands that one, but that's beautifully done so that Leaf could come out to put Zeppa as the last player standing. Wingman at least to help out to get that spike down. And G2 are closing in.
I didn't know if Moose was going to get more there using the G2 Classic. If he could, like, you know, get the kills onto G2. But it didn't work. It didn't. Only one. One in trade. But yeah, spike down. Zeppa here just trying to play the ghost from a high angle. And instantly found out Jonah just goes for defuse as they're going to toy with him now.
They're going to smoke on top of that. Nicely done here for G2, not to try to chase down that kill and just play the round and get the round into your favor.
I like how they like, Jonah, one more alt orb, go for it. All right. Pushing towards mid, or pushing towards A here. Trent with some ridiculous shots as C9. We're just trying to get the last bit of the swing in. It seems like they wanted to get that kill and leave one and go to the site, but nobody committed enough to the kill. Everybody was just trying to do it on a fadeaway step that got them back into the play. Well, the play was Trent, and he stopped it in its tracks. Outlaw coming out from Leaf here to play safe over towards that C spot. Oh, Oxy almost getting a Guardian buy up right here to find a kill, but it does not. So do they protect Oxy, or is he? I think he's in that solo mode right now, where they're C9 playing 4v5 at this point, and Oxy's going to be a Lone Ranger to get a kill.
Or at least the one that's going to open it up here as two players are falling behind him so that they can help out with util. Vanity has that paranoia to work with. You just heard that Dizzy being thrown. So they're able to scale up towards the C-mount. There's that contact towards that front B side. Nicely done by Moose, though. Weakening down into line of defense for G2. Noxy trying to find that piece of util that was left behind, or at least placed down on G2 side on C, and they're losing control of both extremities as both Oxy and Rooney fall.
Paranoia Dizzy.
All right, gets info there onto Leaf. Trying to find that timing, knows that Leaf only has the Outlaw, but still manages to get one before he falls, and he's delayed enough for the rest here of C9 to move forward. And they push down and sweep at the last two kills.
A lot of delay from G2. I feel like they know C9, once they're hitting a site, is just going to hit it with everything they have. A great shot to start off and start to separate the forces, but wasn't enough in the end. But yeah, I think G2 overall is doing a great job of making sure that C9 only gets the space that G2 wants them to get, if you will. Like getting into C there, they only got a slight bit of the back. See what happens over here towards A if they can dictate this too.
And they're trying to with the lower buy, pushing forward towards this A entrance, and it's G2 once again with the upper hand.
Yeah.
Jonah P with the headshot after on the Vanity, upgrade into a weapon.
One enemy remaining.
And it's not looking good. Zeppa, last piece left behind for Cloud9. Mosh to try to clear out some space. It does hit two of them, force them to fall out. But G2's very good on the trade funnies, and Valen capitalizes on that one, and that's a great round for G2 to win in the bonus.
Incredible. Leaf was also rotating over, so they didn't even have everybody in that. But I was just saying G2 is only giving C9 the space G2 wants C9 to take. And right there, it's night and day in the compositions and how they work and how we're seeing A controlled. C9 did that maybe once or twice, and G2 just backed off. G2 does it, and they have the composition that will wombo you down, start to chip your team away, and they'll finish the round. And it's just, it played so well right now by G2 and how they approach this match, and at 10-5, what they're doing. C9 go for the timeout, try to organize things. Emmy giving some ideas of what he's seeing, maybe what he's hearing, and what he wants to hear differently out of the squad right now. Because I think the one thing C9 is missing is the speed that they play with. They have not been able to turn it up to 11 right now.
Seems like they were still okay to fight against G2 towards that A side, though, because they understood that G2 did have that lower buy. Sometimes you want to play further back towards the spawn and let them come towards you, but Lotus is not really set up to be a map to be able to do that, really. If you're losing that control towards that A mound, or, sorry, towards the A rubble, it's hard for you to re-clear it as you're looking at that comp. They don't have that Prowler to go deep. They maybe have Snakebite to try to clear if they want to fight that, but they wanted to go their weapons against G2 weapons. But definitely, again, those players on G2's camp definitely coming out to shoot today. Frag distribution being pretty even on that side of the defense. Cloud9 now after the timeout. Play now to try to fight close quarters. Two Buckies now in the hands of Vanity and Oxy. working in tandem in front of that B site where you have a high-low stack from G2.
Going quick.
Busy, Satchel, and the paranoia is a little bit too late, so Oxy falls. He's able to find that information for the team, and a counter paranoia will stop C9 once again in their tracks, not able to maximize the information that Oxy was able to gain with the Satchels and the sacrifice they hit it towards that B site.
It's just everything. It seems like C9 is getting the exact opposite result G2 did. G2 chose B around, it was free. C9 chose B around, Oxy goes into the waiting arms of 3 members almost of G2. And now they have to rotate across and figure out what's the audible, what's the secondary here. This was kind of our timeout hit that we wanted to throw G2 off, hit the economy. You know, Spike goes down here, it's going to be an amazing boon, but the lower buy makes it tough for C9. And now they're forced to do a little more with even less. Heading over towards A, this is going to be exactly where the graveyard of KJ utility is.
That's the thing. They created space, wasting util on B, wasting util on C, but are walking into the full util of the A site left behind by Leaf. And he keeps now the A site and putting G2 at 11.
Lockdown for Moose, Thrash for Zeppa, power plays available here for C9. But do they have the read to make sure that these hit as power plays? It seems like at this point, G2 could make those all fizzle out in some way, shape, or form with how they've been reading this. And absolutely incredible the way that G2 has approached the match again. I said it like 2 rounds ago, but it's just wild so far how strong they're coming in. And a lot of these guys, a new experience to this stage of playoffs, like this type on the VCT stage with this pressure. So really showing up for G2 here in map 1 of Lotus as they go for the 4-1 split across the map here on C9's side. Rooney's going to try and play a little cat and mouse with whoever he can find on A as they start grabbing up alt orbs and look to a way to win this round.
Looks like it was a slight tempo to take control of the mound, but everybody's cutting noise now, making tons of it. Trying to see if Rooney could hear anybody, anything on a rotate, especially with that lockdown coming down.
And they're right there.
Rooney's still waiting. And there's that util to counter out from G2. Very well done, but they still have the Thrash to work with.
They're ready the whole time. Just set up at
the
C.
gun's sticking out. Doesn't matter about the alarm bot. So all that to know that there was a lot of util on that C side, allowing Rooney to engage a little bit more, but catching Valen off guard.
Oh. All right, Leaf isn't in tree. They can clear this together. Rest of C9's here, or G2's here rather. Can C9 take the site?
Again, it's a double pump.
Yeah, they go back.
Use that util towards the A side, moving now towards B. Thrash still at the ready here from Zeppa, but he's moving up on the top of the B heaven side. Nice snake bite to push Jonah P away, allowing here, cutting noise, killing time for Moose to be able to fight behind whenever he can. Here's the reload, and Jonah P was ready for that. Turned around, but was still caught in the reload in the end. And that may be difficult now for G2 to retake this site. Icy has to focus now on 2 different angles as his teammates are falling down here towards B. Nice little pick by Trent towards that top, but it gets traded out now by Zeppa against Trent. There, finally, C9 working that map here on Lotus beautifully.
We're on round 17, Vansili, and besides the first 3 retake rounds in the first half, I feel like this is the first one where we felt like C9 was being C9. They were going back and forth. They played a little distraction towards C to figure out what they get out of the lockdown, call a nice audible, and Rooney steps up to give him a good first kill here so they can start to work the map a little bit more. Very much more in control that time than being reactive. And exactly what C9 needs to start bringing these rounds back in their favor. So they go for a bit of the same strat. They like the way it played, slower on the round, and the info was what paid off. What can G2 respond with, though? They keep this utility over towards C. And Icy says goodbye, Moose, as that B-lurk comes through.
As soon as that turret went down, they were ready for G2 to counter that right away. Running straight behind the Prowler and catching the lurk here from Moose off guard. And he was counting on his turret for him to do the same type of play. But he's playing against 2 players now. You're forcing lurks to come out from C9. That was a winning condition in a previous round from Rooney, and it gets picked right away. So this might now force C9 to move towards the C side where this KJ utility is. Nothing is looking good here for Cloud9. Leaf is there with the Odin as well, and Zeppa once again alone.
And just had almost perfect placement on mollies too.
Yeah.
With how they were cooking and who. And Zeppa's forced to run back. Yeah, G2's here for the hit as well. They're rotating so quick. It seems like the read on the map is just allowing them to follow C9 with a UAV wherever they're going at this point. 30 seconds on this. 3 ultimates here for G2 as well. If they do want to flex into a retake style play, thinking C9 might go crazy in these next few rounds. They have that option as they start to head back towards A.
Zeppa has one chance here, 1v1 against Trent to start things off, but too little too late. Window of opportunity is gone. All of G2 now grouped together in. Zeppa is going to have to come up huge. Spotted now by the Prowler. Here's the footsteps on the top of Heaven. Paranoia dodges it. Haunt as well. Smoke covers his tracks, and you won't be able to do much there until he swings out in that first smoke, but all of G2's already moving forward.
Ooh, how's he live?
Wait, he's dodging his
How's
shots.
he live?
Bullets left.
How are you live?
Is coming through finally there, and Lee gets the Odin spray. There was a chance at some point there after it was counting bullets, but it's counting bullets against an Odin in the end. And G2 gets match point.
Paper mode and just sideways. Can't see me. So yeah, watch it, these mollies. Crazy. TP onto the molly, also the run-in. Oh. Bye-bye.
It's the everything too.
Yeah.
You saw like an attempt of a push towards B main, shut down. Rooney with the lurk, shut down towards A. And if you're looking at where those X's were at that minimap, nobody will basically cross the line of scrimmage to try to enter the site there for C9.
It's so good, and those mollies force the other people to fight up towards waterfall, so you're just forced to be in the firing range of anybody at a higher elevation than you. Good stuff there by G2's defense. C9 backs against the wall here on a final round for the first map that G2 have just had a handle on. 3 ults again for them to retake.
Yeah.
And they're even playing them pretty aggressive in some sites. The lockdown's the furthest back, but Baby Door holds Trent's ult.
That's the hard part. Line, silver lining, or you're trying to get some hopes up here. It's for Zeppa to grab this orb and potentially a plan for a Thrash, but G2 has weaponry, G2 has ult. C9 only has a stare, and nicely done. Looks like G2, they want to bring the fight now to Cloud9. Look at the bodies drop now for C9. Silas Moose is trying to see the round for his team. 2 kills to his name, but Jonah B stops him there. And G2 gets the first match of this series of the stage 1 of playoffs.
Oh my word, what a dominating first half. That was almost like a stop. They have families, like just pushing out, continuously going at that point. G2 were taking names, and they looked to be in so much control the whole time. They were no indecisiveness there after we saw the first few rounds where we called them out for being indecisive. Yeah. They weren't planning. They had the sight. The post plant was getting mixed up. And then somehow they call a timeout. Josh RT gets in their ears, and holy moly, they go night and day and just start winning round after round after we get out of the bonus. And a few, I think 6 or 7 in a row from that first half, and then they only allow C9, what, 1 or 2?
Yeah.
A second? 1?
If anything, just a masterclass as well from G2 right after that here on the defensive side. So very well done at this point. Now defeating Lotus for Cloud9. That was their map pick. And now G2 has a chance to close it down in 2 after the break.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None, yeah, none feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.